знаете, такое...
It was not safe. I was scared. It was intimidating, but you did it because you could not fail to do it.
Есть ли какие-то примеры, что случается с экосистемой города, когда из нее исчезают все собаки?
Это прям что-то новое у нас, прям интересно.
Да, это еще в свое время говорили.
I was perfectly aware that I could be searched at any moment. Every day I was prepared for searches. Every night, when I went to bed, I realized that I could wake up at 6 a.m. with a knock. Espionage was committed. Sometimes my colleagues and I noticed it. Well, what can be done? It's like asking a zoo vet whether he realizes that entering a lion's cage is dangerous. Is it more important to you that people from a neighboring village would say that you set the nice table? Or is it more important that this person would have lived? I was really outraged by this. In the 21st century, occupying someone else's territory is barbaric. This is hope. This is Alexei Navalny.
Алексей Навальный. Меня зовут Хельга Пирогова.
My name is Helga Pirogova. I'm a politician and a television presenter. I have been residing in Lithuania since 2022.
I truly love Novosibirsk. It is my homeland, and I certainly hope I will have the opportunity to return there. Novosibirsk is a huge city with almost 2 million inhabitants. Now, before the elections in 2020, politics was a hobby for me. It was only a volunteer interest. I was engaged in PR, I was a marketer, PR specialist in various companies.
Вместе мы сделаем Новосибирск городом 21 века, чистым и комфортным для жизни людей.
До войны была, конечно, тоже такая любопытная, наверное, жизнь.
In 2020, yet before the war, I won the elections to the Novosibirsk City Council and became a member of the Novosibirsk City Council. Out of 50 members of the City Council, officially there were 10 independent members, including 4 members of the opposition. Our goal was to make the activities of the City Council transparent because neither in Novosibirsk nor in the whole Russia anyone understands who the members are, what they do, whether they are officials or not, whether they receive a salary or not, why they are needed, what generally happens behind closed doors.
Есть ли какие-то примеры, что случается с экосистемой города?
Про экосистему тоже, пожалуйста.
Это началось вообще после белорусских протестов 2020 года, наверное.
It probably started after the Belarusian protests in 2020. It was not only about Novosibirsk. It was a story about Russia in general when Putin saw what could happen if the presidential elections went wrong. He saw the mass protests, he saw a large force that was ready to stand up for their freedom even at the cost of their lives. And he was very scared. That was particularly the moment when the repressions, which were already quite strong, began to intensify even more and began to severely tighten all screws.
Уважаемые граждане, вы проводите несогласованное публичное мероприятие в форме митинга. Требую прекратить противоправные действия и разойтись.
И я понимаю, что за все приходится платить.
I understand that everything has to be paid for. And if Russia has been shelling peaceful cities in Ukraine for so long, and such a large part of the civilian population of Ukraine has already died, the liability is only a matter of time. Because if you listen to propaganda on TV, everything is fine. We all win, everything is fine, everything is okay. This evil NATO is attacking and we are the victims. In July 2022, an article appeared on MediaZone about relatives' reaction to those who were contracted. The article told the story of relatives about their brother, their husband, their son. Several perspectives were presented about this person. They found out that he had gone to war, had died there, and the coffin was brought to them. Respectively, the relatives, instead of wondering why did this happen, said, "The authorities arranged such an amazing funeral ceremony. There were so many people and we thank them very much." I think so, but the authorities which sent your relative there, were they so good? Is it more important to you that people from a neighboring village would say that you set the nice table? Or is it more important that this person would have lived? I was really outraged by this. I wrote a very emotional tweet about it. If I quoted, it would sound, "You should slap in the face these warriors because of their decision, first of all, led to their relatives' deprivation of any support, and the state did everything to make relatives happy, not with a living person, but with a good catering at the funeral and several dozen thousands of rubles for the funeral. Dozens, maybe 100,000, which is not that much in principle." I wrote this tweet, then I got angry, read it again, deleted it, but apparently it was recorded. I think it caused the first denunciation. Initially, the article about a council member mocking dead heroes appeared on a pro-government portal. Then this article was picked up by some completely unknown Telegram channel, then from this Telegram channel somewhere else, and then it started spreading. There were 2 denunciations. They demanded to deal with me, to get my explanation in general, and they demanded all possible kinds of punishments for me. And then they filed a case against me for all those grounds. On the day the administrative case was initiated, we had charity marathon, an auction. We were collecting money for covering fines of my colleagues. I think the auction ended around midnight. So we left the auction place and they just pushed me into a car. Some unknown people who did not identify themselves. The car was also unmarked. And these unknown people took me to the police station. They made an administrative report in which they said that I seemingly was discrediting myself or something like that. They released me. The next day, my friends started writing and calling me about the urgent departure. You just take a certain risk. You assess your readiness for something. And for example, how much those boundaries are pushed. When everything was yet starting, when it was taking place during some meetings, you were prepared to be put in a police car and be held for 3 hours in the police office while they were checking your documents. That's your limit. After a while, you realize that you are ready to be detained for 5 to 10 days. My last boundary was the readiness to go to prison for a few years. I accepted these rules of the game, but I certainly didn't like them. It sounds horrible, but this is the price you pay for doing opposition activities. Unfortunately, in the last few years, the stakes have risen a lot. Currently, there is no such thing as few years of imprisonment at all. For instance, my colleague Gorinov, who was a member of the Moscow City Duma, was imprisoned for 8.5 years for using the word war. Anyway, at some point, a nice person appeared willing to share information. And of course, I was lucky that this person convinced me to leave and that the law that says that pregnant women are not held in pretrial detention centers would not apply in this case. I packed in about 2 hours. I did not go home. I did not pack my items. My husband packed my things. I packed mentally. The departure was organized very quickly, and literally in one day I left to another country practically without anything, without saying goodbye to anyone, without my things. I came here alone. My husband could move here only 3 or 4 months later. He had to finish all his business in Novosibirsk, and I was lucky to come here and meet friends here who helped me to adapt. I work at the Anti-Corruption Foundation. I thank them very much for finding common ground after my move and employing me.
помогаю людям.
I help people receive new information about what is happening in the world, in Russian politics, and in relation to the war between Russia and Ukraine. I host the news. I host live. Mostly, I'm the face of the channel Popular Politics. First of all, the death of Putin is certainly what we are all waiting for. Obviously, we are waiting for him to be in the dock, but his death is not a bad option at all. You need to understand that if there is a pebble in your shoe, you have to remove it. I am just a confirmed foreign agent. The people around me, whom I interact with, really energize me. This is hope. This is Alexei Navalny.
Alexei Navalny.